Hi everyone, welcome to the series of Quant revision for CAT. Today's topic is simple interest and compound interest. So, the formula for simple interest equals to PTR by 100. Here P is the principal amount, T is the time period, and R is the rate of interest. And for compound interest, uh, you cannot directly find compound interest. So you will find the final amount P into 1 plus R by 100 whole power t. This is the final amount. Let's take an example and I will explain. Principal amount of 1000 rupees. Uh, if Let us consider the rate of interest as 10%. After an year, it becomes 1100. After another year, the 10% is on the 1100. So it becomes 1210. So for the next year, it becomes and it increases by another 10%. It becomes 1331. So this is for compounding annually. Compounding annually means yearly. If in the question it is given that compounded half yearly, that means every 6 months, and compounded quarterly means it is compounded every 4 months. I will take an example and I will explain. Suppose let's let the principal amount be 1000 rupees, and if it is given that rate of interest equals to 30%, no, let's consider rate of interest as 20%. And if it is in question, if it is given that it is compounded quarterly, that means since here the rate of interest is given for 1 year, so 20% for 1 year means 10% for 6 months. So taking the principal amount after 6 months, the increase is 10%. Like it becomes 1100. After another 6 months, becomes 1210. So after an year, it becomes 1210. So if you want to remember a formula for this, final amount equals to principal amount into 1 plus R by N into 100 whole power N T. Here N equals to 1 if it is compounded annually, N equals to 2 if it is compounded half yearly, N equals to 4 if it is compounded quarterly, and T is in years. Okay. So instead of remembering this, you can do it in this way. Remember this note point. In case of compounding, to find the number of years required to double your principal amount, the time required is 72 by rate. So if rate equals to 6%, then time equals to 12 years. Suppose if it is given that in question, uh, they are talking about simple interest and compound interest and all, and if it is given that the time period equals to 3 years, then take principal as x cube and rate equals to 1 by x. So I will give an example and I will so when principal is x cube and rate of interest is 1 by x, for the first year the simple interest will be x square and the compound interest will also be equals to x square. Okay, and for the second year the simple interest will be x square, but the compound interest will be x square plus 1 by x of x square, like r into x square, like the rate of interest of the previous year's interest also. So this is x, and for the third year it is x square for simple interest, but the compound interest is x square x and 1 by x of x square and x, which is x and 1. So compound interest for first year is x square, for second year is x square plus x, for third year is x square plus 2x plus 1. So you cannot blindly do this method. It is just to find the rate of interest, which is equals to 1 by x. In generally, in, just to find the rate of interest, we do this. But to find the principal amount, just for the simplification, we are doing this. But to find the principal amount, it is actually p equals to a into x cube. I will take an example and I'll explain this. Okay. Let us discuss with an example. Let us consider there is a principal amount of p which is compounded for 3 years. In question, if it is given that ratio of difference between simple interest and compound interest for 2 years to simple interest of first year equals to 1 is to 10. So uh, from previous concept, if you observe that given the ratio of difference between simple and compound interest for 2 years. So for first year simple interest is x square, and for second year it is x square. So the total SI will be 2x square for the first 2 years, and total CI will be 2x square plus x for the second year. So the ratio is like x is to x square equals to 1 is to 10. Okay, so x equals to 10. That implies 1 by 10 converted to percentage, it is 10%. 10% is the rate of interest. Here we cannot simply say that principal equals to x cube. Principal equals to a into x cube. Like it can be 1000 into a. Like a can be some constant. We don't know that. If you if, to cross check it, you can simply substitute this in here by just finding the simple interest and compound interest at the rate of 10%. So remember that this is to find the rate of interest only. We are for the sake of finding rate of interest, we are taking p equals to x cube, but actually p equals to x cube. Uh, that's it about today's video. In next video, I will try to cover simple SI and CI installments. Thank you.